In the majestic National Cathedral in Washington, President Bush today expressed the grief and anguish of a nation stunned by this week's horrific attacks.
Just 3 days removed from these events, Americans do not yet have the distance of history. But our responsibility to history is already clear: to answer these attacks and rid the world of evil.
The event brought together past presidents, presidential aspirants, and members of Congress. At the insistence of the White House, the service was multi-denominational, multi-faith. The implicit message: the whole of America, indeed, the whole world, was touched by this tragedy.
Keep our country strong for the sake of the good and righteousness, and protect us, our Lord, from all evil.
The Reverend Billy Graham, who himself summoned the strength to make a rare public appearance, implored Americans not to be cowed before the cruel terrorist plot.
But now we have a choice, whether to implode and disintegrate emotionally and spiritually as a people and a nation, or whether we choose to become stronger.
Yet even as speaker after speaker sought to calm an anxious nation, there was more evidence of growing security concerns. Air Force One now shadowed everywhere by fighter jets. Information about the president's movements now tightly guarded. The commander-in-chief very much on active duty, every day one step further down the road to war.
This nation is peaceful, but fierce when stirred to anger. This conflict was begun on the timing and terms of others. It will end in a way and at an hour of our choosing.
Later in the day, an important symbol as the president defied the threat to national security to visit Ground Zero.
America today is on bended knee in prayer for the people whose lives were lost here, for the workers who work here, for the families who mourn.
The symbols of U.S. dominance in ruins around him, thousands dead beneath the rubble, Mr. Bush rallied exhausted rescue workers, pledging those responsible will pay a heavy price.
USA! USA! I can hear you, the rest of the world hears you, and the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
The defiant words hit home with firefighters who have spent frustrating days searching the wreckage amid dimming hopes that any of their comrades will be found alive. Uptown from the epicenter, the president toured the makeshift FEMA headquarters and spent time with families of New York police officers missing in the crumpled buildings. Away from the view of cameras, Mr. Bush met with the mother of one officer whose body was recovered on Tuesday. She gave the president his badge. Speaking to the White House press corps, President Bush said of the destruction in New York, "You have to see it to understand the full impact."
I said that this was the first act of war on America in the 21st century, and I was right, particularly having seen the scene.